Housing demand is running strong, but a rise in mortgage rates could threaten the significant momentum in the housing market. Will it be enough to crash the housing market? We'll be looking at that and more in today's video. Let's get into it. Welcome to the third installment of When is the Housing Market Gonna Crash? The video series that's taken so long to produce, I'm lucky the market hasn't crashed yet, so I can still answer the question. Today, we're going to be looking at the demand side of the market. And while it has been in overdrive in the last year or so, there are some cracks starting to show in its armor. Let's take a look at where things stand, and then we'll look at where the trouble signs lay ahead and whether this could lead to a crash in the housing market. Home sales across the nation, while down from the pandemic peak back in December 2020, have maintained above average pre-pandemic levels on a consistent basis. The higher sales volumes themselves indicate a strong demand signal, and from the sales to list price ratio, we can see that competition has been fierce. Homes have been selling above list price on average since taking off in the middle of 2020. And while it looked like this trend was reversing, the ratio has made a comeback from the downtrend in the middle of 2021. Not surprisingly, this strong demand for housing across the nation has resulted in a steady upward trend in the median home price, well above historical averages. As of February 2022, the median home price was up 16% year over year, which came on top of the 15% increase seen in the same year over year period in 2021. But this isn't news to you. You didn't click on this video to see something you already knew. You're here to get a sense of what might bring it all down. Because with graphs like that, you can definitely be tempted to think we're in the middle of a massive real estate bubble. The problem with that is that I'm not completely convinced we are in the middle of a real estate bubble, and for a few reasons. Could we be at the high end of valuations that make any kind of sense? Definitely. But because of the historically low supply in the market, which we looked at in depth in our last video in this series, there's just too much upward pressure on prices from low supply. This is not an asset bubble driven by speculation. Even if demand were to marginally weaken, it wouldn't matter because supply is so constrained. Another reason I'm not convinced we're in a bubble is because we still haven't reached levels of unaffordability that we saw in the last housing bubble. We covered this in depth in a previous video last year as well, and we did an update on it in a recent video covering inflation on our main channel, PapayaCast. I'll leave a link to that video and channel in the description down below. So now's the question. What could bring down this housing market that seems to be bulletproof based on the supply and demand fundamentals we're looking at right now? In a word, mortgage rates. A sudden rise in mortgage rates would be a large shock to demand, and if they were to rise to historic levels in rapid time, that could definitely crash this housing market. The question is, will it? A lot of that depends on where inflation heads this year and how fast the Federal Reserve raises interest rates in an attempt to bring it back down. They've already made their first interest rate hike and have signaled there could be 6 more rate hikes in 2022. Other interest rates, including mortgage rates, have already started moving higher. If you're watching this video on the Real Estate Watch channel, don't forget to check out the main channel, PapayaCast, where I have more videos tracking inflation and also how you can protect your purchasing power during times of high inflation. In our final video in this series, which I'll get out in a much more timely manner than this one, I assure you, I'm going to produce some actual projections for mortgage rates based on the anticipated path of interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve. And I'll give you an answer to that hot question: when is the housing market going to crash? So make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell down below so you'll know right away when that video comes out. And if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and share with others on social media to support the channel, help us grow. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.